You're not poor because you lack money. You're poor because you were taught to think like the poor, long before you even understood what money was. School trained you to obey. Society trained you to be quiet. And you've likely passed this mindset to your children. Meanwhile, the wealthy are passing down 17 financial principles, silent, strategic, and missing from textbooks. These are not tips. They're weapons. If you don't learn them today, your children may end up working for theirs tomorrow. That's the brutal truth. This is not financial advice, it's a warning. This is either your turning point or the next link in your invisible chain. Now begins the war on your old money mindset. Lesson by lesson, truth by truth. Financial thinking, not meant to survive, but to dominate. Financial thinking isn't taught in schools. That's the harsh truth. Most people learn how to earn money by trading time, but not how to control it. The rich teach their kids that money knowledge isn't for survival. It's for domination. They don't wait for opportunities. They engineer them. From budgeting to investing to cash flow analysis, everything becomes a weapon. Those without a financial roadmap will forever wander in a maze of debt and confusion. Financial thinking is not a skill reserved for accountants. It's the base code of every empire ever built. If you lack it, you don't just lose money, you lose control. Don't assume that financial knowledge is for the elite. In fact, the uninformed are the most vulnerable to interest rates, credit traps, emotional spending, and shiny marketing. The rich don't worship money, they command it. They teach their children that money has no feelings, but those who don't master it live emotionally and die financially. They instill early on that every dollar spent must have a reason, and every dollar earned must have a reinvestment strategy. Without this mental wiring, you're not making financial decisions, you're reacting to life, hoping things will somehow work out. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't learn how to make money work for you, you'll spend your life working for it. The wealthy aren't performing miracles. They simply understand what others ignore. They don't do more. They do the right things. They teach their children that freedom doesn't come from high income, but from ironclad management, a skill the average person avoids because it's complicated. But in reality, complexity isn't the enemy. It's just the excuse. Assets and liabilities. The sweet trap of the middle class. The biggest financial mistake the middle class makes is thinking everything they buy is an asset. A luxury car, a mortgaged house, a fancy watch. On the surface, they scream success. But the rich teach their kids this hard truth. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability drains it silently. This lesson cuts against emotion, but it's the core of financial survival. Don't let appearances blind you. If it looks great but costs you monthly with zero return, it's not building wealth. It's bleeding it. That dream car won't make you money. It depreciates, consumes insurance and repairs, and delivers no income. It's a liability, plain and simple. A rental property that generates monthly income and appreciates in value, that's a real asset. The rich don't care how things look. They only ask, does this put money in or take it out? That one question, if taught to children early, will reshape their entire financial future. The poor flex what they bought. The rich multiply what they own that earns. Beyond that, the wealthy teach how to use good debt to acquire real assets. They don't borrow to consume, they borrow to create. Debt is a tool, not a curse. Used strategically, it buys assets that pay for themselves. Meanwhile, the poor borrow to survive and slowly die financially. The rich borrow to grow and accelerate wealth. It's not just about what you own, but whether what you own works for you. That's the painful truth the average person never questions. Harsh truth. No one owes you anything. This is the lesson most people refuse to hear. The world owes you nothing. The rich teach their kids that success isn't granted, it's earned. Life doesn't hand you rewards for showing up. If you grow up believing you're entitled, you'll forever wait for help and never create your own. Those who expect handouts breed dependency. The rich raise builders, not beggars. Harsh? Yes. But in the real world, expectation without contribution leads to collapse. No one's coming to save you. In contrast, the rich pass down the principle of absolute self-ownership. Every dollar earned must reflect value delivered. One mindset hides from responsibility. The other wields it like a sword. The poor point fingers. The rich take notes, adjust, and rise. Freedom begins the moment you take full ownership of your results. You don't need sympathy, you need strategy. The rich don't shelter their children from difficulty, they prepare them to crush it. And when failure arrives, as it always does, the rich don't blame. They analyze, adapt, and bounce back stronger. They teach their children that failure is not fatal, it's data. Regular people fear failure because it's embarrassing. The rich embrace it as tuition. Each mistake becomes a step up. Those who see failure as final will forever fear risk. But those who treat failure as fuel will eventually outrun everyone else. It's not about being perfect. It's about becoming anti-fragile. Power networks, invisible assets, infinite ROI. Average people treat relationships as social. The wealthy treat them as strategic. They don't teach their kids to just be nice. They teach them to meet the right people before others do. One conversation with the right person can unlock more than a decade of schooling. Connections, when intentional, become shortcuts. No one builds an empire alone, but millions stay broke because they refuse to build the right network. It's not just what you know, it's who helps you expand it. The wealthy don't network shallowly, they listen, seek mutual value, and build long-term alliances. They teach their kids not to extract, but to enrich. A well-nurtured connection could lead to guidance, capital, or life-changing opportunities. This isn't about business cards. It's about proximity to wisdom and leverage. The rich don't leave success to chance. They create ecosystems rich in people, not just capital. They don't attend events, they build tables others want to sit at. Beyond social capital, they turn networks into income machines, joint ventures, partnerships, investments, and high-level collaborations. The rich don't just hire people, they co-create with visionaries. Their network isn't ornamental, it's operational. In contrast, lone wolves remain stuck, mistaking independence for power. But independence without access is just a prison. The wealthy ask not, "What do I know?" but, "Who's building this with me?" That's the mindset that multiplies everything. Patience isn't sexy, but it makes you rich. Society glorifies speed. Get rich quick, make 6 figures in 90 days. Total nonsense. The rich reject these illusions. They teach their kids that patience is a hidden weapon, and those who master time, master wealth. Building wealth is like planting seeds. No one yells at a tree to grow overnight, but many abandon the process at the very moment growth is beginning. Lack of patience is the fastest way to destroy compounding. The wealthy break goals into steps. They plan, they measure, they stay the course. They don't chase overnight success, they build systems that scale. While others search for shortcuts, they lay bricks daily. That's why they win. Not because they're smarter, but because they stay in the game longer. They train their kids to celebrate the process, not just the payout. To trust the blueprint, not the impulse. Slow and strategic beats fast and fragile, every single time. Patience isn't laziness, it's loyalty to long-term vision. The rich don't sit idle, they take focused, consistent action. They don't rush time, they align with it. Their children are taught that small daily wins lead to massive eventual outcomes, and while others panic at slow results, they remain unshaken. Why? Because they aren't hoping. It's all by design. Riches don't belong to the fastest, they belong to the most disciplined. And patience is the currency of the disciplined. Increase income. Don't shrink your life. When financial pressure hits, most people shrink. They cut back, they tighten, they suffocate. But the wealthy? They expand. They teach their kids that cutting expenses won't make you rich, it just slows down the bleeding. Income growth is the real game. You can save up to 100% of your spending, but your earning potential has no ceiling. That's the math the poor never do. Limiting your budget is survival. Expanding your income is strategy, and only one of those leads to freedom. The rich don't glorify frugality. They don't punish themselves with scarcity to feel in control. Instead, they invest in skills, tools, mentors, and money-making systems. Every dollar isn't a cost, it's a seed. They ask, will this generate more income in 6 months? That question filters everything. Meanwhile, the average person saves pennies while missing $1,000 ideas. The rich don't spend to survive, they spend to scale, and they never cut what helps them grow. Earning more isn't just about chasing a better job, it's building an ecosystem of income streams. Active income, passive income, equity, royalties, strategic partnerships. The wealthy never rely on one source. They diversify, automate, and stack. While others cut coffee to save 3, the rich build cash flows that pay for the building itself. That's the difference between trimming expenses and engineering wealth. It's not about working harder, it's about creating engines that never stop printing money. Knowledge is an asset no one can steal. You can lose money through mistakes, crashes, or theft. But if you possess financial intelligence, you'll always recover. The rich teach their kids that knowledge is the only asset immune to theft. It compounds, it scales, it multiplies. No one sustains wealth without understanding the game. So they read books, attend seminars, study markets, follow experts, and reflect constantly. Knowledge isn't a bonus, it's the foundation of every intelligent decision. You don't guess your way to wealth, you learn your way there. But learning isn't just for knowing, it's for profitable action. The rich train their children to turn understanding into execution. They don't wait for answers, they seek, test, adapt. Most people avoid mistakes. The wealthy welcome them. Every failure is a tuition payment for a better future. While others fear being wrong, the rich fear staying ignorant. And because they extract value from setbacks, they get stronger while others get stuck. Their ability to fail forward is a competitive advantage. Then comes the real edge, problem solving. The rich teach their kids that money chases solutions. Don't avoid problems, monetize them. Entrepreneurs don't get paid to exist, they get paid to fix pain points. Every product, service, or innovation is born from a problem, and those who solve best earn most. When a challenge appears, the rich don't ask, "Why me?" They ask, "How do I turn this into value?" That question is worth millions. Eliminate noise. Focus only on the path to wealth. The modern world is a storm of distraction. Every scroll, every notification, every ad is stealing your financial focus. The rich teach their kids, if it doesn't serve your vision, it's noise. And noise kills momentum. Most people are emotionally reactive. The wealthy are strategically selective. They cut distractions like a surgeon because they understand that clarity isn't optional. It's the gateway to control. If everything matters, nothing does. They apply the 80-20 rule like a religion. 20% of actions yield 80% of results. They don't do more, they do what matters. They train their children to identify high-leverage tasks and go all in. Most people stay busy to feel important. The rich stay effective to become unstoppable. The difference? One burns out, the other builds out. Efficiency isn't optional, it's essential to building scalable wealth. And finally, they master the power of no. No to energy-draining people. No to low-return tasks. No to every shiny object that pulls them off course. Every time you say no to distraction, you say yes to your future. The wealthy don't chase everything. They choose ruthlessly. Time is their capital, and focus is their weapon. You can't afford to be polite with your goals. You must be aggressive with your attention. Money doesn't define you, but it reveals who you are. Poor people say money isn't everything, but they think about it constantly. The rich teach their kids, money doesn't define you, but how you use it reveals who you are. Spend for image, and you're a prisoner of approval. Spend to build, give, and multiply, and you're a force of purpose. Money is a mirror. It reflects your beliefs, not your worth. If you're insecure, it magnifies fear. If you're grounded, it magnifies impact. You're not poor because of your wallet, you're poor because of your wiring. Hate money, fear money, misuse money, and it will destroy you. Treat it as a tool, and it becomes your servant. The rich don't chase or idolize money. They respect it, master it, deploy it. Their children grow up learning that money is neutral. Only its handler gives it direction. Those who fear it, avoid it. Those who understand it, command it. And more importantly, they teach that character comes first. You can be broke and honorable. But if you're wealthy and principled, you're influential. Wealth doesn't corrupt character. It amplifies it. That's why the rich build from the inside out. They don't chase image, they chase alignment. The goal isn't just to have more money, it's to be someone who can handle more money. Without shame, without fear, without compromise. True wealth is giving without running empty. Average people say, "I'll give when I have more." The rich say, "Giving proves I already have enough." They don't teach their kids to wait, they teach them to activate impact now. Giving isn't weakness, it's a power move. Money is lifeless unless it circulates. Hoarding isn't safety, it's fear disguised as planning. Wealth lives in movement. And generosity is proof that money serves you, not the other way around. They don't give for optics, they give for legacy. Scholarships, philanthropy, mentorship, they create ripples that outlast their net worth. The rich know that every dollar put into people multiplies, and their children learn that contribution builds fulfillment, not just balance sheets. Money should never die in a vault. It should live in changed lives. That's real wealth. Not numbers, not status, but stories you helped write. Most importantly, they teach that legacy is built on values, not valuables. A child who learns to give grows into an adult who doesn't need to take. Generational wealth isn't just money, it's mindset, compassion, and responsibility passed down. The rich leave more than inheritance, they leave identity. And they measure their success not by what they kept, but by what they ignited in others. That's the wealth no recession can touch. You've just walked through 17 unfiltered truths the wealthy pass down, not to survive, but to dominate. Each lesson shattered a lie you were taught about money. From understanding assets, mastering debt, building networks, owning failure, to using generosity as legacy, this wasn't a crash course, it was a wake-up call. You now know too much to return to the old mindset. The question is no longer, what should I do, but how long will I wait? The clock is ticking. The game has changed, and the next move is yours. Act like the wealthy, or spend your life being owned by those who do. This is not just about building wealth, it's about breaking chains forever.